labor is any mental or physical effort put in the production of goods and services. Any laborer is worthy of his or her wage or salary. The government of all countries play a key role in overseeing the economic system of the country, which is a set of rules, principles that govern the production of goods and services, that determine what to produce, where to produce, and how to produce, and whom to produce with. However, 60 years after most nations in Africa regained their independence, the protection of the rights of their citizens from foreign companies and institutions is something that many have been asking the question: why is it that our home government in Africa seemingly don't want to protect the rights of their citizens working in foreign companies and institutions in their own territory? In fact, most of the times, it is common to see that most of these foreign companies and institutions don't advocate or institute the labor law instituted by the home country. It is only in Africa that you will see that a foreign nation, a foreign company is maltreating a citizen, and that citizen takes the matter to a police station, and the citizen is detained, and no legal proceedings are followed, and the company is not penalized. It has become a cliche that many have been asking the question: why is it that in Africa most foreign companies and institutions have rights more than the citizens of that nation, whereas when you go to a different nation in the east and the western part of the world, you will see that the laws are respected irrespective of who you are, what companies operate, and how it is. It is only in Africa that you will see how Africans are being maltreated by their foreign employers in their own home soil, and all they will do is that they can just cry and cry and cry, because if that matter is taken to their labor office, many of those cases are being thrown out, and the employer is also being, congratulated somehow for giving the foreigner, the national, the job. We feel like implementing in Africa the labor law and fighting for the rights of our citizens will mean telling these companies that they should not install in Africa, which is not the case. We are afraid to tell the truth, and that is why you have been seeing viral videos of Africans trying to fight their foreign employer for not respecting the labor code. The labor code is clear across the world. There is a universal labor code that applies across the world, and that universal labor code that applies around the world. How many foreign companies institute this? It is only in Africa that you will see that those who are even being recruited are being recruited without due process. And even if with due process followed, sometimes they are not being paid as they ought to be paid. The foreign companies will look at these individuals and tell them that they don't merit the kind of salary they ought to be paid. And that is why you see in Africa, most of these foreign companies have rights, more rights than the nationals. In fact, the nationals can never call the police against a foreign national who might treat he or she. This is not how the law should be in Africa, and that's why you see Africa, we are still in a consuming economy, and where we think that the best way to protect foreign investment, the best way to tell foreigners to come and invest in our country is to give them the full right to operate the independency, whereas we claim that Africa has regained its independence. If Africa has regained its independence, it is very normal for African heads of state to see that laws are put in place that protect their nationals in foreign institutions that are established in their home country. Keep that aside. Let us zoom to Cameroon, because our topic of today, we are looking at: has the government abandoned the private sector to the mercy of the employer? Has the government abandoned the private sector to the mercy of the employer? Twice, salaries have been increased in Cameroon. Twice, the government announced that they will go into discussion with these members of the private sector to see how they can see for the upliftment or an increment of salary to meet up with the expenditure which has been increased because taxes have been increased, and so prices of basic commodities, transportation has automatically increased. The government increased salary the first time and announced that they would discuss with employers to see how they can raise it based on some realities. That was not done. That meeting, we still wait for the resolution or waiting to see if it has actually been called. Second, when the salary was also recently increased, the government also made it clear that they would discuss with foreign employers, they would discuss also with employers of the private sector to see how they can talk with them to increase salary based on their own reality. We understand that the private sector cannot increase salary as a government because realities are different. Maybe they could benefit from tax holiday or reduction of tax, in return increase the salary of their workers. Yet, we have not heard whether that meeting has been held or not, and now we are asking the question: the private workers of the private sector, don't also they actually need an increment of salary? Don't they pay taxes? Don't they feel the heat of the increment of the price of fuel that has increased, the visit technique, and a lot of taxes that have increased? Don't they also feel this impact? That it is only workers of the government sector that feel it. At the level of the educational sector, the workers of the private sector have more workload than government teachers, and yet some of them, their take-home package cannot take them home. In fact, the take-home package of some of these individuals can barely take them halfway so that they can conveniently check. It is kind of a system which is appalling, and something that many Cameroonians have been asking the question: has the government abandoned them to the mercy of their employer? Because the government said they were to come in to discuss on this issue of possibility of increasing salary based on the realities of this private sector. That has not been done, and so we are asking the question: has the government abandoned the private sector employees to the mercy of their employers? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Javis. I want to wish you guys who are watching us on different platforms on Facebook a happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday to all those of you watching us. And if you are just joining in, you are watching House of Commons, we had invited senior barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who was supposed to be here. He just messaged me 10 minutes ago that he has a very serious issue why he could not make it. He had an emergency that came in on his way to the program, and so therefore he could not make it to the program, and so we'll continue the program. We also invited Engineer Dickson, who also has just messaged me that unfortunately he is not feeling fine, and so therefore he will not be able to make it to the program. However, I have also my guests with whom we are going to discuss. You two also have the possibilities to call us to give us your take on the situation of workers in Cameroon, because on Wednesday we'll be celebrating the International Day of Labor, International Labor Day, and the question we're asking ahead of this celebration: has the government abandoned who is supposed to hold this meeting with the private sector so that there could be possible increase of salary? How can this be done so that employers can see how they can increase the salary of their workers? And in the studio we are joined by Mr. Azia Bertrand, who is also a teacher in some of our private schools in Douala. Mr. Bertrand, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Mr. Javis, for having me on your platform today. It's a pleasure being on your studio today for my very first time. I want to greet all the viewers of my media, Prime TV, especially those of this program, and I think I'm going to give my best with regards to the program of today. Thank
you very much. And also, before we kickstart the program, I want to wish you Orish wish of the Choir Nego Spiritual a very, very happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Urish. Joyeux anniversaire. And that God should continue to guide you, protect you, que Dieu doit te bénir et que les miséricordes de Dieu doivent continuer avec toi et le Saint-Esprit doit continuer à descendre avec toi et que tu dois faire les choses pour glorifier Dieu et pour aussi louer Dieu avec ta voix que tu utilises pour chanter les chants de Dieu. And also then also I want to wish all those who celebrated their birthday just recently happy birthday to all of you in this month of April. I'll begin the program also by asking this question: has the government abandoned the private sector employees to the mercy of their employer? You can also participate in the course of the program by leaving us a message or you call us. Mr. Azia, I want to start the question. My first question is, we are to celebrate International Labor Day, which is in May. Oftentimes this day is celebrated, but do we feel the impact after that? Or is it just a showcase?
It becomes a celebration like other celebrations in Cameroon. I don't see there is any impact because I used to say if there is an impact, it's what the theme of the Labor Day will take us. But if we have a theme, it means we are going to work on that theme to the next coming celebration. And so we have been celebrating Labor Days in Cameroon with different themes. And so if we take the themes into consideration, we see that the themes don't play any impact. And so we'll be celebrating this one just like the other ones that we have been celebrating, and we'll see come back to face the same problem in our workplaces, to be on the same treatment with our employers. And I think we are just going to join the other part of Cameroonians and the rest of the world to celebrate. That is why you will see some of us who go on the street to march, and after that we come and eat, and that is all. And we don't actually think of the work that you are doing, how you are paid, how you are treated at your job site, and things that are supposed to be taken into consideration by your employer, they are not taken in place. So you see, it's some sort of just celebration. That is why I used to say in Cameroon, we celebrate, and once there is food and drink, celebration is okay. So I feel we'll celebrate this one like the other ones.
Okay, which is just a mere celebration, and probably, because that's the question that many have been asking, that year in, year out, we celebrate this Labor Day. We have companies that give a good buffet, yeah? Do a lot. But does something really change as individual employees of that company after that?
There is nothing that has changed, but you need to see the amount of money that is put aside for this particular celebration. I think if companies spend, they print out T-shirts, they bring out buffets, they give drinks, food, and all the like. They put their workers I don't know what I can put it, they put them on a high celebration on that day. People will drink, get drunk, and go back home. They have been working in that same company for 10 years, no increment. They have been there for 50 years, no increment. Some have been working there for more than 25 years without any contract. So they don't even look at these things as a problem. So you see, in Cameroon, we celebrate, and you see, like the question is saying, has the government actually abandoned the private sector to its employer? I say yes. If I say yes, because in the private sector, Mr. Javis, I think it is the approval of the government that brings about the private sector. The private sector does not just come into being on its own.
And they are regulated.
They are regulated. That's why I was coming in. If the private sector is supposed to be regulated by the government, which I suppose that is what is happening in the countries in the world, therefore, why is it not taking place in Cameroon? There is a big question. I think they have been abandoned to themselves. We have workers that are working in a company without any job security. At any moment, if there is a small mistake, you can be fired out, and case goes nowhere. So you see, it is a whole setup that the private sector can do anything that it is doing, because the government of our country at times, or I will not even say at times, does not really come in to regulate the private sector, and I believe it's a very big problem, Javis.
Okay, we just have somebody has left us a voice note here in French. Maybe we'll just play it. Okay, I don't know if our producer can get it, because it's,
la télé, ça m'a beaucoup pris là. Bon, par rapport aux employés, comme vous avez dit, moi ce que je vous dis, c'est pour vous dire que c'est les Camerounais qui tuent les Camerounais. Parce que quand les Blancs arrivent dans notre pays, pour une société, c'est nous-mêmes qui tuons. Par exemple, quand vous regardez, nous travaillons à Kribi, à cimenterie de Simpo. On fait dans le montage et on travaille avec la société Simi Cameroes et c'est une société portugaise et nous travaillons pas de contrats, pas de congés. Nous avons déjà fait environ 2 ans, pas de congés, pas de contrat, de rien. Mais quand nous on part, on se plaint à l'inspection du travail, on fait qu'une tournée. Et à ce moment, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Nous, les Camerounais, les jeunes, on entre en brousse ou bien qu'est-ce que nous allons faire quand les dirigeants ne veulent pas suivre notre problème? Qu'est-ce qu'on doit faire?
You just listen what he said there. Let me calm down first on to ask you this question. How do you appeal, or how do you look at this situation where we know that to open a company or a school, you must have laws that you must respect, how you recruit individual, the recruitment process, how they are treated, because you are not independent of the law of the land. And that's why I have a Ministry of Labor and Social Security whose job is to regulate the private sector also, to see how the workers are treated evenly, whether you are private or you are government, because you guys are all involved. Now, when you look at this issue of contracts, let's start with contracts first. When workers don't have contracts, who takes the blame?
Who takes the blame? The blame is on two sides. Now, the first person that takes the blame is the worker himself. Because if I say I'm working with you, what binds me as a worker in your company is a contract. And if I'm working with you for 1, 2, 3 years without a contract, I have to blame myself, because I need to sign a contract with you so that at any point that there is a breach of contract, you can either sue me to court or I sue you to court. I think justice can take its place. But when you come into a company, you work for 1, 2, 3 years, 4 years without a contract, you blame yourself. The second person I want to blame here is the employer. How can you employ somebody without a contract? How do you employ somebody without a contract? How do you employ somebody for years and you feel that that person will be working for you like a slave? I think when you are employing somebody, the first thing that you are supposed to put on the table that you are the employer should have is the contract. From the contract, now the terms of the contract should be specified, so that if I'm working, I know that this is what entails, or this is what I'm supposed to do in your company. If I don't do it, I have my own side to be blamed. And if you don't do your own side, me too, I have to question you. I think that is the second place. And the third place, or the third person that I want to blame here is the government.
Yeah, because
the government does. That is what I want to say. The government does not come in to check these companies, because the government is supposed to know the amount of workers that a company has, the amount of the pay slip of those workers. Is supposed to know whether these workers are under the social insurance and all the benefit that the workers are supposed to employ to have in your company. But if the government does not come in as the number one controller that is supposed to control the activities of the private sector, what do you want the private people to do? They can do anything and go their way, because they know that the government will know when they come in to check and see how they are running their businesses. So it become an individual something with the person that employs. That's why when you were coming in with the aspect, when you started with your introduction, and you were talking of African countries having independence, but still yet the private sectors of most African countries, they are still the way they are. They are supposed to be how they are, because you should know that the aspect of neo-colonialism has come in. And most of these private-owned companies, let me take the companies, they are not owned by us Africans. They are owned by foreigners. And these foreigners, it's an indirect way of still colonizing Africans, because if you see, the same their white people or the same expatriates that they bring from abroad, they pay them according to the standard that they are paying in their own country. But you, a black man, you will not be paid like that. And so you see things like this, when they come to play, you understand that the aspect of neo-colonialism is still well planted in Africa. And I still feel that Africans are not actually independent, because if they were independent, things like these, the leaders of Africans can sit and say, this is the minimum wage rate that we are going to pay in the private sector, and this is what we are going to pay in the public sector. We have it, but it cannot be respected. It cannot be respected because you still understand that within our African countries, most of the private sector's company are still owned by the governing class. If the governing class is there to own those companies, the governing class cannot come to take itself. So it becomes a problem. So the governing class are there, they own this company, they are still the directors of this company, and they want to keep their employers under a certain status quo. That is the problem.
Okay, if you are watching us, you can also participate in the course of the program by also call us. We'll receive calls today. You can also call us by giving us your take on this. I want to take on this message. Just want to say happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Mr. Javis, this is a very good topic. Thank you very much for raising this issue. I am quite saddened when I look at what is happening in Africa. Let me give you an example. I looked, there was a video that I watched with a Chinese and a black fighting, and you know that it was the black that was arrested and detained, despite the fact that the Chinese had not paid the black for a very long time after investigation. How and what must we do for us to have fair treatment in our own country? This other right, it says happy Sunday to you guys. Say hi to your guest who is just coming in for the very first time. He's speaking in the minds of a lot of us who are quiet. I want to say this, that most of our employers don't care about us. Your guest talked about the issue of contracts and that it is a three-way blame. Yes, of course, it's a three-way blame, but I want to ask a question. If you as an employee, you see that if you go, some other person will take the job for you, what will you do? This let me. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. We were getting you, and excuse me. What will you do if you leave the job? Other person will take it far lesser than what you were even charging, because there are no jobs, Mr. Javis. I want to tell you that it's the government's fault, not three ways. It's the government's fault that you can call us to say your mind. You were laughing.
No, what I'm laughing is very correct with what he's saying. You come to a place, maybe you negotiate a contract for 1,000 francs. I'm just taking for an example. And if the terms of the contract is not going well, what happened is another person is actually prepared to come for 700 francs, and this is because of the situation that we face in the country, which is unemployment. But now this situation of unemployment, I have a problem with that situation of unemployment. I look at the situation of unemployment with the educational system that we have in Cameroon. I think the educational system that we have in Cameroon warrants that things like this should happen. Why? Because the educational system in Cameroon does not bring professionals.
Yeah.
It brings only people that are educated.
Just a minute. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Javis.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Now, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Mutengene.
Yes, sir. Right on.
Yes. The problem in Cameroon is that we have good laws.
Yes.
Yeah, we have good laws, and then we don't have the follow-up. You know, you have a minister of labor. He has never taught the country to see how, like the private sector, even the government company are treating their workers.
Yeah.
You know, once I was working with a security company in Limbe, which I would not like to call the name. When the month comes to an end, we are being paid. We sign a blank check, and then the amount is written on it. And the first day I saw a payslip was when I insisted that we're supposed to be paid with a payslip. And that day the payslip was presented, I was fired. Those are some of the things. Even in the CDC where I'm presently working, there's a slogan saying the boss is always right. The worker doesn't have any right to challenge the boss. So you see that we have good laws. The problem is the implementation and the follow-up. I don't even see why we should be celebrating. We are celebrating suffering, intimidation at the job site, low salary, high cost of living. No, even farm to market, we say we are importing tons of rice. You see, one woman told me that
a bunch of plantain will be sold now for 13,000 francs because she cannot sell a bunch of plantain for 2,000 francs and then go and buy a cup of rice for 150 francs.
I'm telling you, a cup of rice now is 150.
It's unbearable. It's unbearable. The government should do something. We should sit up.
Okay, thank you.
I will come back. Thank
Yes.
you very much.
Thank you. Let me pick on this other person. Yes.
Is calling from Utengene.
Okay. Hello? Please, where you are calling us, let us know where you are calling us from. This Mark Amos Andy, my favorite man, who says who doesn't speak water in his mouth. He says, Happy Sunday, Javis. Cameroonian needs to see the wind of change in the Sahel region and copy for better life. The military is the only corps not affected in Cameroon. It seems everyone should become a soldier so that the equal life can be guaranteed. The employers pay money to the government and the military is there for them, and the employees are left to themselves. Protesters are caught and thrown in jail by government, and that is supposed to protect her citizens. This is coming from Mark Andy Emos, my favorite man. And also this other one, right? He says, thank you very much. Nice topic. I think I like your guest. He's been honest with a lot of issues. This other one, right? He says, you can also call us if you are watching us. This one say, greeting, Mr. Javis. We have a corrupt government who doesn't care. I will take on that message. Let me pick on this call. Hello, good morning. Where are you calling us from?
Hello.
Good morning, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I will take on that message. I'm calling from Kumba.
Yes, sir. Can you shift a bit away from your radio a bit or your TV?
Hello. Good morning, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Hello.
Yeah, I'm getting you. Can you shift away from your TV? I'm getting you.
Okay. Please, this is a very good topic you're talking. You see, can you imagine? Like when the Minister of Labour or the presidential decree that came and the Minister of Labour said they should be paying security companies 60,000 francs minimum salary. It has not been implemented.
Yes. Yes. I'm getting you.
Yeah, and there's no follow-up.
Okay.
How can you explain that one?
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. We'll get back to you. Thank you. I was reading this one. Our brother from Kumba talked about the fact that the minimum wage was increased, but no follow-up. We have a corrupt government who don't care about our well-being. Those delegates working at the various delegations of level are the payroll. I will coming back to that. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. Where are you calling us from?
Hello?
Yes, sir. We are getting you. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Bafsa.
Yes, right on, sir.
From Bafsa, sir.
Yeah, right on. With your contribution.
Hello?
Yes, right on with your contribution.
Yes, I want to talk about the Labor Day topic.
Yes, right on.
Please, I want to say the government in Ghana, they are not respecting the contract. Because I work in the security company, the way they are paying us, they don't respect. Sometimes we take for 3 months before they pay us. With that 3 months, they come and pay us 1 month, and then the other 2 months is left. And then they are not respecting the condition. The working condition is not good. So I want to plead with people, if one people have a program on this issue of security company in Cameroon, because they are marching, the condition the workers are working is not really good. So if you can have the topic one day on that security matter, it will be very good, because much of the youth, they are now working in that security company. But the way the workers are treating, the way they are treating the workers is very, very poor. Sometimes they even have posts to work in, they work under the rain, under the sun and so on. But the way they pay them, it is very bad. So please, people can talk about that issue. Because most people are employed in that sector, and the salary, they have a very small salary. They don't even respect the payment. They don't pay even monthly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your participation. And I was reading this other message, which is was talking about the fact that the message is sent by Abraham in Yaoundé. Abraham says those delegates working at the various delegations of labor are the payroll of these private companies. They have a fixed salary, and they receive monthly from the companies. That's why when a worker brings the employer before them, they will turn things around in their favor. Talk about contracts. Mr. Javis, you need to see the type of contract that these various labor delegates allow private companies to issue to their employees. A worker is forced to accept because of the high unemployment level in our country. Those in offices up there are the ones responsible for our tragedy. Do you agree?
Very much agree with it. Because you see, I'm saying here that the job security has to do with the contract. Now, if your contract is well stipulated, you know that at any point that you go out of your contract, you have yourself to be blamed. Now, if your employer does not respect the terms of the contract, you now will follow up your employer. But now the fact that the contracts, like he has said, they are not very okay, and some of us, we just want to sign because of the unemployment that we are facing in the country, it becomes a problem. But I'm saying that the job security is primordial, because the contract is what gives you a job security. So if you have a very good contract, which I'm still saying, it is the place of the government to actually see into it that the private sector, their contracts and even wages are up to standard.
But is that not what the law itself says?
But that is what the law is saying, but it is not implemented because of the fact that this contract, we ourselves fail to have our contracts. It becomes a problem because you cannot be working where you don't have a contract, and every year, let me take for example the private teaching sector in Cameroon. We have 3 sets of workers there. Now we have workers that they call themselves part-time workers. Part-time worker, who is a part-time worker, is somebody that comes and work maybe 2 hours per hour and he goes. And then we have a semi-permanent worker. Who is a semi-permanent worker? Is a worker that is working, is teaching in a school, and he has no contract. He's now on a fixed salary. And we have a permanent worker that is not even paid 12 months. 12 months in a year. So you see, the contracts are different. So a part-time worker is somebody that has no contract. You just come in, I am going to teach in your school. They say, okay, you have been accepted as a teacher in this school, and you will be teaching. I say, I have 12 hours. They give you a timetable, and you start teaching.
With no file documented.
With no file documented. Maybe they just look at your credentials. You are qualified, you have a degree, and they say, okay, this man can teach. We should give this man 10 hours. After all, he's on hourly basis. The day that you don't come, the benefit. That is the irony. If you don't come per week, what happens? They are going to benefit what they are going to pay you. When it is time for examination, they know that they cannot program you to invigilate. And
let me take on Dr. Nix Ngwanyam. Good afternoon, doctor.
Hello?
Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Doctor, we are doing well.
Thank you. I want to say something about security.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, but is it that there's a transmission problem, because I can still see this other guy talking?
No, yes, you right on. You have a delay. I'm getting you. There's probably a transmission.
Thank you very much. Now, let me get this concept of job security right. Well, you can think of job security from the angle of the employee, and you can think of job security from the angle of the employer. But in reality, you would notice that if you go to a company, oh, there's a delay.
Yeah, doctor, I'm getting you.
Thank you. Now, the thing is, when we are talking about job security globally, let's step out of these definitions and examine what happens in a job place. For instance, even in our homes, who is the person that you would like to have by you all the time? It is someone who loves their work, is someone who does their work dutifully, is someone you can trust, is someone who is not going to steal from you, is someone whom you can leave your institution to or whatever and turn your back and come back and realize that they have done a good job. It is that servant. You remember when Christ had this parable of a master going away, leaving someone with 5 talents, 2 talents, and 1 talent.
Yes.
The guy with the 2 talents who multiplied the talents cannot be sent away from work. So when you have the capacity to multiply the talents, that is what you call job security. So job security is something that the employee does, which makes the company to grow. And the employee becomes an asset to the company to the extent that nobody can send them away because they are an asset. You don't damage your company by sending away people who are hardworking. So it is the guy with the 1 talent that gets sent away. The guy with the 1 talent has no job security. The guy with the 2 talents who makes the company grow. So job security is a function of what the employee brings to the company.
Yeah.
When the employee is an asset, it becomes job secure. So when you have a lot of people who hold back and don't want to give, you know, the guy with 1 talent looking for papers to protect them at their job, you will never get it. So, and it is those very people who don't give out of their best, they're the ones who get thrown out of any company anytime. And then the gentleman who was speaking just before I took over, you see, he is trying to talk about job and job security, but all the time we only go to teaching. Why do we go only to teaching? Can we talk about something else other than teaching?
That's
because
his
when we
field.
use teaching, we do it all wrong. Let's use industry or something, not teaching, because everybody is teaching, and teaching has a lot of problems of its own.
Yeah, doctor,
and you
that
see
is
a lot
his
of people
field.
only teaching because they have no other field.
That is his field. So he was just quoting an example from his field.
Yeah, it is his field, but what I'm saying is, when we are using teaching as this thing, it's limited because you will see everybody in Cameroon only wants to teach and that kind of thing, and the teachers have only one skill. You study geography, all you do is teach, and the problems of Cameroon is because of this teaching. But even when we are talking about teaching and whatever, we still don't have the best of teachers like you would have them in India, South Korea, and Finland. So let's talk about something else.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Doctor, now my question, you talk about the issue of job security in terms of productivity of a worker. Now, what of when a worker gives in all the best and still doesn't have contract to say that that worker is working there?
This is how it works. It is only a very stupid, very stupid and foolish entrepreneur who will not secure his best workers. It's a very stupid entrepreneur who will not secure his best workers. So more often than not, when you just employ people and they come, what you want to do is to make sure that they are trustworthy before you go the next step.
Yeah, doctor, the issue is you are among the few who actually follow this labor issue because probably based on your internationalization where you study. But even look at most companies and most workers who are crying, they see that as an issue where they feel they are an asset and they are not being given the right of place as an asset.
The thing again is, well, let's say that Cameroon, when it comes to work and so on, Cameroon has a huge problem because we don't define things properly. But in a situation where things are well defined, when the worker is doing his best in the interest of the company, that worker would always have a place under the sun. That's the bottom line.
Yes, doctor, I agree. And what of situation where you see workers who have worked in company for 12 years not being paid? But these are workers also who have given their best. They are sometimes they work for 1 year. They are paid for 3 months.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate that we're in a very difficult environment. But we are saying this thing to correct things.
Yes.
While we might be saying the employers are not doing a good job, I'm just bringing in my voice to say that employees too should do something that gives them an edge.
Like your added value. You are talking about an added value. They should have an added value in the company.
Correct. You should be that kind of a person that everybody will cry if you left.
Okay, doctor. Thank you very much, doctor.
You're welcome.
That was Dr. Nick Ngwanyam talking there.
If I may add something.
Yes.
If I may add something, doctor has used the Bible to like a yardstick of what is supposed to be there. But before being that type of worker that the company will actually say, no, we cannot get a this worker, there must be something that binds you together. There must be a contract. There must be a contract.
Is that a specified contract or unspecified contract?
It's after the contract that your added value can be felt. You cannot employ somebody for the very first day and then you start talking about added value. It must be somebody that has worked in that company maybe 10 or 20 years, and then we know that this type of person, like he is talking about the one talent, two talent. This is the person of two talent that has multiplied it. This type of person who cannot get rid of him. But if another person is there, because the person of one talent now will be somebody that is not actually following the terms of contract, and if you are not following the term of contract and you are not giving added advantage to the company, no, the company has all right to lay you off. So the contract becomes the binding point between the employer and the employee, and then it gives the employee a job security. He knows that where I'm working, I am secured. But if you are working in a place 1, 2, 3, 4 years without a permanent contract, because some talk of a semi-permanent contract or part-time workers and things of all sorts.
Yeah, doctor. Doctor, I'm getting you.
What he said. Can I speak now?
I'm getting you.
Okay. When you come into that is exactly why it is recommended that people should always volunteer and work in companies before they get employed. And that's why also when people are employed, there is this probation period of 3 months to 6 months, 3 months renewable and so on. Because of this kind of attitude where a lot of people come into a system, and number one, either they don't know their job very well, or number two, they hold back, which is an attitude problem. And therefore, you know, if you come into a system and you don't want to give of yourself, you want to hold back and get a contract before you show who you are. In fact, if I were the owner of the institution, I would kick your ass out and throw you out of the street before you even know it. That's not how it works. You have to give your best, show that you deserve it, and then everything will fall in place for you. But if you come and you are playing tricks and you are holding back that you will get a contract before you actually go the extra mile, then you got it all wrong. And if you continue to do that, I bet you are going nowhere. And if that's the kind of thing you want, you're better off creating your own company and doing it the way you want. And honestly, all I'm saying is that is the wrong attitude. Please don't take it.
Doctor, now
when you come to giving your best.
We understand.
Giving your best.
We understand, because now let me talk from the perspective of a human resource person, because I have my specialty in my master's degree in human resource management. You have actually articulated the recruitment steps, which begins by first volunteerism. You have a 3 months of volunteerism. You have a 3 to 6 months of probation. Then after that 3 to 6 months of probation, you have a 1 year specified contract, which is the time that you have been observed for that 1 year a specified contract. Then after, which can be renewable at least once, just once, if the employer is not satisfied. Then after that renewability, there's now the signature to a permanent, what we call unspecified contract. Now on this note, that is where he's coming from, the fact that if all these processes are followed, some employers still don't go to that extent of following the last stage, which is the specified, unspecified contract, which makes a worker to feel that he or she will be used, because doctor, you will also not refuse the fact that there are companies where workers give in their best and they still not being paid. Like we see workers striking everywhere, that they work for 10 years, 3 years, 4 years, they work for 6 months, they are just being paid 2 months. So these workers probably could be acting based on precedent.
I do understand what you are saying, but in Cameroon, we all of us in Cameroon, employers and employees, need to seriously define what work is.
Yes,
you know, His Eminent Christian Cardinal Tume, number 1, taught us that to succeed, number 1, you have to like work. Number 2, you have to like work that is well done. Number 3, you have to be honest. Number 4, you have to be trustworthy. You have to have self-discipline. Number 5, you have to pray. And number 6, you have to respect Mother Earth. But whatever it takes, when you hold back, you are killing yourself. That's the bottom line. Give and give and give. If it is not appreciated, no problem. But continue to give and give and give. In your course of your giving, you will grow. But if you hold back, it doesn't matter what you do, you will not grow. If you think that you are smart and you hold back, it doesn't matter in which company, it will catch up with you and it will kill you. So my advice to young people is that do your best, give of your best. Appreciated or not is not the problem. Do your best. And another thing, we have another area of contracts. It's called marriage.
Yes, doctor. I'm getting you. Hello, doctor. Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor, right on.
So okay, you know, it's, because of the delay, it's confusing me. So
no, I'm getting you. It will come.
All right, okay. All right. What else do I have to add to that?
You were talking about marriage. You were talking about marriage
contract.
Doctor stopped. Yes, this one says, good day and happy Sunday, Mr. Javis and your able panelists. Honestly, Cameroon government has completely abandoned the private sector. To the employer. I am a private teacher teaching at a government secondary high school in Ebolowa. I have been teaching in this government. Secondary school for 8 years now. I teach economic, commerce, citizenship education to Form 4, Form 5, and lower C. I have no contract of employment. For 8 years, my irregular salary fluctuates between 40,000 50,000. For the month of December, they paid me just half of the money, claiming that we did not finish a month. For this month of April, I don't have a salary. Though I have been working for 2 weeks, the employer has very little or no blame. The employee has very little or no blame. The employee in Cameroon are very helpless. The entire blame for the maltreatment of private employees in Cameroon has all been shifted to the government, who care less about her citizens. I am Ernest, writing from Motale in Ebolowa. This other one says, it is Shapiro. I like the topic. This doctor will call you back. Unfortunately, we're taking on some messages, so we'll call you back. This one says, good afternoon. Good morning, sir. I am Hans from Yaoundé. That's actually a very nice topic, which to me, I see that the government of Cameroon don't care about employees in the private sector. I experienced a case where an employee is fired from work without any quick notice and he is left stranded and cannot do anything. I'll come back to that. This person has been insisting on me pick on the call. Hello? Okay. The employee is stranded and cannot do anything because the government won't do anything. But which in normal circumstances, if you fire someone which the contract has not finished, you have to pay the remaining months or days. But here in Cameroon, people are fired without quick notice and are not paid, making the private employees to look down on and seem to be disgraced by the government. And that is coming from an anonymous sender. Greetings to your guest, Mr. Azia Bertrand. I hail you guys for a job well done. Government should be blamed, not for not following up to see that good laws are implemented to the fullest. Felix, the son of man, watching from Sandpit. This other one says,
one thing I want to really emphasize on. There's a prime ministerial decree that put on laid down the minimum salary rate is making to 42,000 francs and 60,000 for domestic workers. This is not being respected in most security companies who are supposed to be paid 60,000 francs at the minimum basic salaries. In this case, who is to blame? Is it the Prime Minister who is not for the government who is not following it up, or the companies are not paying? The companies are not paying. Who is to blame? And they the workers who follow up so that they should be paid.
You have listened to that one. Keep talking about security. This other one says, "Good morning, Mr. Javis, and all Media Prime viewers. Our labor code is among the worst in Africa. With a minimum wage of 41,000, how can you adequately support your family? My stand on this issue is that Cameroonians are becoming more sophisticated under this regime. Therefore, we should redirect our energy towards massive registration, voting, and protecting our vote to oust this regime." This is coming from Lionel in Boya. Dr. Ningwanya is back on air. Dr. Nick.
Yes, I want to make a comment about the gentleman who called from somewhere in the east of Ebola, who was saying that, he was saying that he's been working for 80 years and he says his salary is 40,000 per month or something like that. Yes. And then he teaches so many classes. Now, so I'm taking on that so that we see that there's a fundamental problem with that teacher and then a fundamental problem with the nation. And if we don't correct that fundamental problem, we'll keep having problems like this. So what is the fundamental problem with the teacher? And let's ask the question, how come she can continue to teach on such a salary and do all that work on such a salary? So what is keeping him there to be doing that? So there must be something that is missing from his system that he's afraid to go out there because something is missing in his system.
He just believes in that, doctor, so, that hope, yes, that something may change. That's why he's hoping.
No. There is something. He is afraid of something. Why hasn't he developed other skills to be able to do some other thing? In fact, in 2006, I roadside, and I realized she was earning more money. She was making more money than a lot of civil servants and a lot of employees. So is this mentality of let him continue to hope, but while he is hoping, he should not be blaming other people. I blame the school, but I'm blaming him for not developing skills. Because if he had developed many other skills, he would be making more money and be more satisfied than doing that job for 40,000. Working so hard, and doing that for 40,000 doesn't make sense at all.
So you are saying, doctor, that he's not working smart, he's working hard.
Yeah, he's not working smart. He's working hard. Working hard is not good. In life, you work smart. You can spend your life digging trenches. That is working hard. You will not get much. But when you work smart, you make more. So it's about working smart, not working hard. I don't know how best to explain this. Now it brings us back to the school system that we have been accused. People just go to school, read, pass exams and so on. And after that, all you can do is also teach. There are no skills, and it is this lack of skills that is killing the nation. And people pay for skills. People don't pay for certificates. So develop the skills, and when you have the skills, I bet you nobody will hold you down. Take for instance, young boys who can do plumbing right, young boys who do electricity right, young boys who repair cars right, carpenters who work right, young people who are doing air conditioners right. I'm telling you, they make a lot more money than many civil servants. 2, 3, 4, 5 times most of the money that civil servants make. So it's just because we don't want to look outside the box. We don't want to develop skills. And it doesn't matter what you have studied in university, but go on YouTube. There are a lot that you can learn on YouTube instead of just doing high on with social media. Use your YouTube to learn new skills. For instance, the other day you saw me. I sent out something about a young man who has gone to the YouTube because it's on YouTube. You learn how to make gas cookers that burn but used oil. Those are little things that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can learn and do them, and you supply the whole nation, and you'll be a rich person. So it's just because we are not thinking, it's just because we are not working, and so on. And there's a lot of money in agriculture if you do it right. So there's a lot.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, thank you very much. We'll take on this one. Good morning. Hello? Hello? Can you switch a bit from your TV set? Yes, sir. Can you move a bit from your TV set? Please, when you call us, move a bit away from your TV set, please. Move away from your TV set. That was, I read the message from Lionel. When you call us, move away from your TV set so that we can probably hear you. Hello?
Yes. Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Okay, it's Mr. Ikua calling from Limbe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, your topic is very sensitive.
Yes, sir.
Yes, but I want to believe that the last speaker, Dr. Ngwanya, has surely gone out of that topic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he has surely gone out of the topic. I think the topic focuses on that the government has abandoned private employees.
Yes, the mercy of the employers.
And is not answering the question directly. And now, I think the topic is not based on what should young Cameroonians do in order to be self-sustainable, to have self-employment. I think the topic focuses on whether the conditions of the employees in Cameroon is comfortable, and if it is not comfortable, who is to be blamed?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where our focus is. Well, to my own opinion, I think the government have to be blamed most. It is true all the parties may be concerned, but who have to be blamed most is the government. Now, the law is to protect the weaker party. That is why we put it there. Yes, the law is to protect the weaker party. Yes. And the weaker party is the employees. Because the employer already have the financial strength. And so the government comes in to regulate and protect the interests of the employee. Yes. Most because they are the weaker party that we must consider. So the government has abandoned the private sectors because the mandate to employees is determined by the employer without following any labor provision. The terms of agreement, sometimes there's no contract. Let me come in for this issue of a contract. Yes. Yes, I think Dr. Ngwanya is trying to make people understand that if people acquire skills, you don't need a contract. I think if you acquire a skill like a pilot, you also need a contract. Yes. And the person who doesn't have the opportunity to acquire the type of luxurious skill that Dr. Ngwanya is saying, if what he acquires and there's someone who needs it, he should be treated the way he's supposed to be treated by provision of the law. So everybody needs a contract. Yes. Yes. And a contract should not come up because you have been working so well, because there's time duration, probation period, and so on. How do you say that an employee does not deserve a contract because maybe the employer have not recognized him well? Or the employee has not been working well? What kept the worker there maybe for 20 years or 10 years for those who are still complaining that their employer is not treating them well? It means that the employer values their services but does not want to pay them well or does not want to treat them favorably. I think that is the problem.
Thank you very much. Greet the people for Limbe for us.
Yes, and Dr. Ngwanya was so very specific about it. I don't know what negativity he has about teaching. I don't know what negativity he has about teaching. If someone is employed it means there's need for somebody to teach it. If everybody does plumbing, as he's saying, everybody does marketing, any type of business, the society cannot be without teachers.
Okay, sir.
Is it possible? Yes, the society cannot be without teachers. So whether teachers are paid less or they are paid, the issue is that let their working condition and the contract should be there and be respected. Nobody will blame when you are paid low or not. So she will close down economies, or should those who have graduated from the university and other private institutions should not teach because they are paid low. We will need their services. We need their services, please. Then they should respect the contract. The employer should respect the contract and the payment.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Several people are trying to call. Please, when you call us, move a bit from your TV set. Mr. Azia, yes. Let me come back to an issue here. We have talked about contract. Let's look at the issue of social insurance benefit. How many companies do respect this social insurance benefit? Pay it to their workers?
You come to realize,
especially in the teaching sector.
Now, in the teaching sector, I would say very few, especially those who respect a little bit confessional schools, colleges that are owned by Catholics and all like publicity. I think they try to respect it, and the others, you are left to fend for yourself. That's why I'm saying that there is a very big problem when doctor is saying that you just need to put in your best, give the added advantage to the company, and then the company will be, there's a problem. If you don't have a contract, this aspect of social insurance cannot come in. They cannot respect it, and many of them will place you in this type of situation, and they claim to the government that they are doing it. Meanwhile, this money is entering into their coffers. This is what is taking place in most of our companies.
Yeah, because checks have been done. Who comes to do this check?
They come to do the check, and you say, I have this so and so number of workers, and within I am paying same payers for this, and the paperwork has been done. But what is happening in the field is not what they are presenting to those who come for controls. And so you see, if you don't have a good contract, how can they respect your social insurance? It can never be respected. So many workers out there, you have an accident, you are left for yourself. Your wife put to bed, she's left to herself. In fact, you work in a company for 200 years, you are on the same place. Okay. It's like a BAFTA.
We are getting you, sir. Move away from your TV set.
Yeah, good day, sir.
Good day, sir. Move a bit away from your TV set. Yes, we are getting you.
Yeah, good day, sir.
Yeah, good day. Right on. Where are you calling us from? Your name?
This is Mr. Evis calling from Chico.
Yes, Mr. Evis. Yes.
I want to give my own contribution on the topic going on right now.
Right on.
And I think Dr. Nick Guanyam has gone out of context because the question is, should government be blamed for the exploitation or the maltreatment of private employees as their employers? I don't think to another profession. I don't think they are talking about diversification here. They are talking about how or they are talking about employees' security. Because in most cases, it is always employees who are being maltreated by their employers. So I think the government should be blamed for that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Azia, let me again come to you. I want to look at the issue of leave, because this is a very, very, very important issue, the issue of leave. How many companies actually do give leave to their workers? Annual leave.
Mr. Javis,
as stipulated by the Labor Code 21 working days.
That is what the Labor Code stipulates, how can you give annual leave to a worker who hasn't gotten a contract? It's impossible, because you give leave regarding the contract, because any employee has the right to leave. I think within a year, he has a right
Yes.
to go and rest, maybe for
21 working days.
21 working
Which
days,
is a month.
which is a month, before coming back. So if you don't have a contract, these things can never be respected. That's why some people can work even for the rest of their life, and maybe they just fire them at times without sending them on retirement, because they are afraid they will look for means to send you out of work when you have served a company for about 30 years, because they are afraid that at the tail end, maybe they will pay these insurance things and all the like. So many of the companies don't grant leave to their workers. Their workers, even to give 3 days permission. I happen to be a victim, not I being a victim, I was in contact with one victim from a particular place that he was working at. The company was unable to give him a 3-day permission. After losing an important person in the family. You can imagine, if they cannot give you 3 days permission, would they go as far as giving you a 21 days leave? It's impossible. And so when I started, I said, when you look, we have many people to be blamed, not the government. The government is the first person to be blamed itself. The employer is another person to be blamed. The employee too is another person to be blamed. That's why I call the
it's a triple
it's a triangle something that every person, we have in our companies, we have the Frenchman calls it délégué du personnel, and it's like somebody that is there to defend the rights of workers within a company. What is the role of these people in a company? What are they actually standing for? Do they stand for the employees? I don't think so. Because things like these contracts in the company, délégué de personnel, I don't know the appellation.
Labor officials.
Labor official, I don't know the appellation in English.
Labor officials.
It's like labor official, not
really. Wait, in a company?
In a company.
We call them staff delegate.
The staff delegate, thank you so very much. The staff delegate is there to see that all these things are put in place.
Yes.
You cannot be a staff delegate, you answer just a name, staff delegate. And
because they are installed by labor, they are protected by labor.
They are installed and the labor office knows them.
They are representatives of labor office in that institution.
These are the things that they as delegate to personnel, they are supposed to sit down.
But my question to you, how many companies even have staff delegates? Even
very few. Some do, and those that do, the staff delegate are more of serving their employers than serving their employees. This one is taking place in the field, Mr. Javis. It's not a laughing matter, because you see at times.
I'm laughing because I am a staff delegate.
Yes.
And I don't serve my employee, I serve workers.
But
I am a staff delegate, but I protect workers and the interests of because there's a nuance here. A staff delegate doesn't just protect the workers, it protects both the workers and the interests of the company, because it is when these two persons are in union, then the company can grow.
You are perfectly correct, and that is the role of a staff delegate. But that is not what is happening in the field. Most of them don't even, you have a problem, he's afraid of losing the job. That is the first thing. So you see, when there is job insecurity, things cannot work. If there is job insecurity, things cannot work. But if you really know that you are having good taproot in your company, there are certain things that we are not saying that we should go, we should be rebels in our companies. We are saying that we respect our companies. We are saying that we bring the added advantage, as you have said.
Value. What else can you do?
What else can you do? You bring in the added value into the company, that your employers see that this man is really bringing in an added value into the company. And then it is at this level that we are saying that that person that is bringing in that added value, I believe that person should have a maximum job security.
Okay, greetings, Javis. My regards to Uncle B, your guest on set. This is Charles writing from Moyen. Dr. Nick is not out of topic. He looks at it from the employer point of view. But it is true that when you add value on yourself, work smarter, and with multiple skill sets, most employers will want to do their best to keep you, such as an employee, such an employee will have contract at the same time providing the service, the interest of the employer. They might even hurry to give you a contract to tie you down to the organization if you have an added value. So he's saying that Charles is saying that Dr. Nick is talking from the perspective of an employer, what an employer is looking at. And I think that that is also a viewpoint that most employer will have to look at it. This other one, right, it says, happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. Nice topic. To be very honest with you, government has abandoned us because government has increased salary twice. Government has not asked the private sector if they have increased salary. Is it that the government is insensitive to the fact that we need salary increment, and we knew that they said they were going to talk with private sector? When will this discussion be, Mr. Prime Minister? How long should we wait for this discussion to be held? Because fuel price has increased, and we too are paying the same price of transportation as government workers. We too are buying things very expensive. Your Excellency, sir, do something. Because we are almost running out of ideas. Our take home cannot even take us to where we are supposed to go. At the end of the month, you take your salary, you discover that you have paid all your debt until you are still owing about 50,000 francs, and yet determined on that same salary. How can we construct even our own houses? How can we even have the latitude to have cars like some of you? Have mercy, you. This is coming from an anonymous sender. This one says, good afternoon. A lot of private employees in Cameroon are frustrating youth and exploiting them. What they receive is far less than what they put in. They don't care about the lives of employees and have the latitude to terminate at will without consideration. When you pick up a labor dispute with them, some of them contact other employers not to employ you. They will sabotage you because of the issue of reference check from the other employers. Their youth are suffering. They cannot move freely despite bad working conditions and low salary because of the employees using their influence to sabotage them. This other one, right, it says, good day, sir. I think doctor look at it from this different perspective. Does it mean that this teacher who has been working for 8 years to change 8 years to change his profession because he is being exploited by his employer? Anonymous sender. This other right, it says, good afternoon, sir. Tana James from Yaoundé, please, I just wish to let those who are saying that doctor has gone out of topic that he is merely saying that people should get skills rather than depending on many employers. I don't understand how people even make a living on 40,000 a month, but with your skills, you can get at least 3 times that a month because you are not self-confident. The employer will treat you with this regard. This other right, it says, thank you very much for your program. I just pray that our Minister of Labor should quickly discuss with private sector because we need salary increment. We no go agree for this one. This other one says, Cameroonians are good at defending their interests instead of that of the people they represent. Thank you very much. Now, let me come back to you. Let's look at the issue of termination of contracts. How many companies actually do respect this principle of, because before a worker is terminated, there must be a proof of insubordination. One, you must also follow due process. That worker must have been queried once, twice, given a warning. First, it begins with an observation. You call that worker, you give an observation. If the worker is recalcitrant, that we are observed that this is that is wrong, tell us, could it be that you are facing a problem that we don't understand that is making you not to be productive? Because that worker may be facing a problem that is affecting your work. After the observation, it moves now to the stage which is known as a query letter. The first query letter, second query letter, and the last, which is a warning letter. Now, the warning letter is to tell you that we observe you so and so time, you promise us to change, we query you on this, you promise us to change. This last query, we gave you a chance, you promise not to change, and now we are warning you officially that doing this will terminate your contract. How many companies follow all these procedures?
Now, you will see that very few, I will talk of government parastatals that may follow it.
And the mission.
And the mission, I don't know, but the mission not actually, because there are some also situations that the mission, their contracts are not very clear. There are some situations. But I want to say, you cannot say they will follow these steps when you don't have anything that is backing you. They can only follow the steps when there is a good document that backs you. But so in a situation that there's a slight mistake, they just fire you because they know that you cannot take them anywhere. Do you have a contract? You don't have. There is no job security. You don't have a contract. So the employer can do and undo with you. You have no voice. First of all, if you say they have laid you out of your company, what can you use to hire a lawyer maybe to follow up your employer? Do you have any document? No, but you have been working in that company for 15 years.
But the text also, the text of labor also states that if you have been working in a company, and this for those who are watching us, if you have been working in a company for more than a year,
yes,
you are considered as a permanent worker in that institution. And if that case goes to labor will take your side because that company first will be faulted for not issuing a contract.
Correct.
But how many labor inspectors follow this?
But that is why I'm saying that we also have ourselves to be blamed. Because when you come in a situation like this, do you follow the right procedure?
The issue is that a lot of people are not aware of this law.
That is why we blame ourselves. Because there are things that I used to say, I don't know, I'm not somebody of the law, but I say we should not. Okay, they say if ignorant of the law is not
an excuse.
It's not an excuse. So when you are ignorant, it's not an excuse. So why don't we? I've been saying that. Why don't we take time? If you have been proposed, maybe employment somewhere, why don't you corner expert and see that you go in as a full-fledged worker after your probation period? I think that one will actually guarantee that you cannot be laid off. Your contract cannot be terminated just anyhow. But you see that people, you hear somebody, I've worked in this company for 5 years and they have just sent me away. You see situation like that, and how frustrating it can be that somebody has worked for a company 15 years and the person is just sent out without any payoff. It's very frustrating. I've seen a situation, Javis, in a company where somebody put in 35 years of service, and after that 35 years of service, the person was just laid off like that because of a small, I will not say maybe the company look at the problem to be very big, but I as an individual, it was a minor problem to me because it was not something that merited termination of contract. But the fact that they knew that this person was going towards the end of his career, and going at the end of your career, it means if your retirement is due, they are going to pay you something back. Because they want to benefit this, they use this as an opportunity to send you away. So I'm saying that job opportunity or job security becomes very vital. And I think if we are celebrating, or we are going to be celebrating Labor Day, I think it is moment that Cameroonians to actually know what is labor. And if they are putting in their labor somewhere, they should be paid according to it, and they should be secure at their job site. I think it should be in the back of our minds that we are not just celebrating a Labor Day, but we are celebrating with the conviction that the government, alongside with the private sector, will listen to our cry, and those of the private sector, like some of us, maybe after the 2 or 3 government increments that they have done with the civil servant, maybe we can even have 1 increment. It will be something.
Yeah, but the government promised from the first increment that they would discuss. Nothing was done. Second increment was discussed. So which means that 2 increments and the private sectors are still on their own. Which means the government may have abandoned us to
it has abandoned us to ourselves. Now that is why I say the duties of all the staff delegates now needs to come in. The staff delegate need to represent us. They need to carry our plea to the powers that be, so that they can actually see into what the people of the private sectors they are facing or they are going through.
Now, let me come now to the issue of increment of salaries. But before then, let me pick on this call. Hello? Good afternoon, sir. Yes, right on.
Yeah, it's me, Menka Daniel, calling from Bonaberi.
Yes, sir, right on.
Yeah, talking about the employment and the labor. We have seen in our country that the government have refused to guide their citizens in the due of working conditions through company.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so they only comes in to collect their taxes and then they fly away. They never mind whether the workers, the citizens are working in the foreign company that has been established by a foreigner. How are they coping up in that company? The workers are suffering from the company. Some are beaten by the company, by the owners of the company, punishing the worker to work according to the way they want, because they have not been implementing the kinds of system that any company has to be established in Cameroon. Using citizens, there are rules to be put in place so that citizens to have benefit and work freely. Cameroonians are suffering from the companies that are established by the European, by the Lebanese, by the Chinese in Cameroon. They don't have any favor, any little favor in the company. They are minimized in their country. So these are the handwork of the government. They are there to come in and collect their taxes and go and share their money. They don't mind whether the citizens are undergoing the kinds of stress in the company. They don't mind. But they are there. When a child will little up, will abandon the company, come and open a small place to have his own daily bread, they will come back to collect a tax, or rather they lock it, that you should go back and stay back home to become a thief. Those are the kinds of strategies that government are putting for their citizens in place. So Cameroonians are suffering in the hands of the government a lot. So we have been pleading for government to change the systems of our country. Since they are eating fat, they don't have time for those who are down there that are dying for stress or labor or whatever. They don't care about that. So we will continue to be like that till the day that God will deliberate in this country. In the hands of the good people that will take care for the who have pity mind for those who are suffering.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your contribution. This other one, it says happy Sunday to you guys. Nice program. Thank you. Though you did not tell us where you are messaging us from. This other one, right, it says good afternoon, Javis. The government is not trying. The government needs to really do a lot in terms of protecting the private workers. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. Where are you calling us from? Hello? Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm getting you.
Yes, I'm calling from Munya.
Yes, sir, right on.
Yes. The equivalent system of delegate to Besonga.
Yes.
English version is staff representative.
Yes.
Staff representatives.
Yes.
And the labor unions are in charge of negotiations when it comes to salary arrangement or wages arrangement formalities. Not the staff representatives per se,
yes,
because they have their role. They are intermediaries between the employer and the employee.
Yes.
So those who have the veto and mandate to legislate
and the labor union
employer and the government is the labor union and not delegated personnel per se.
Yes.
And the issue of the labor contract, the Cameroon Labor Code is very, very clear that there exist verbal contracts, yes, and written contracts. And written contracts are the most appropriate in any given case. So it will be very good and absolutely clear that each individual, whatever thing that you want to take, you should engage with a written contract.
Yeah, but in case where there's no written contract, the other worker has worked for more than a year, that company will be faulted for not respecting the labor code, because the labor code is clear that you must have a written contract. If you don't have, then the worker's verbal contract will be taken into consideration. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
You got what I said?
No, I did not get you.
I'm saying, in case where there's no written contract, where a worker has been working for 2 years, and there is a breach or sack, that worker takes you to labor, that company will pay a fine for not respecting the labor code, and the verbal contract will be taken as the contract.
True, say. That is it. But with some employers who are so stubborn, may not agree to the terms, and that's why you see it going to the court, be it the court of first instance or the high court of that particular jurisdiction, the appellate jurisdiction where the worker was serving.
Okay, thank you. We are out of time. Thank you guys, all those who took our time to participate on this program. There's no much time. I wanted us to look at the increment, but there's no much time, Mr. Bertrand. We are out of time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so very much, Javis. I'm very happy to have been part of your program today. Let me just use the opportunity to salute one or two persons. Mr. Ben Felix somewhere there, Sam Pete, Ahelio, Mr. Chang, and all televiewers of My Media Prime. Ciao.
I thank you very much for coming, and thank all those of you who took our time to participate on today's edition of our program. This program comes out every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. If you want to be a member of our panel, you want to know what we are discussing so that you can come to the studio and also contribute to nation building, you can message me on the number that you see on your screen. I will put you into the group where participants are, so that once I share a topic which is of your interest, where you think you have mastery of and where you can contribute to the nation building, you can actually just indicate and we'll program you for that edition. Rebroadcast of this program 10:30 p.m. today. And until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. What should matter for you as a worker, as you celebrate Labor Day, is that you should also pray for your employer. Pray that your employer should have the money to pay you, and also give you your best. Go to work on time. Do what you're asked to do, because most of the time employees also don't actually give in their best. Some are also recalcitrant, because if you want the best, put in your best and leave the rest. If we put in our best and let our employer do the best, then I will tell you that we will have a good working condition. Especially, I want to appreciate all those companies, especially our companies that are taking care of their workers. Thank you very much, and until we meet again, stay blessed. Bye-bye.